After the breakup, he thought he was free. He muted her number. He unfriended her on social media. He did everything you're supposed to do to move on and get your life back. But then, the texts started coming. First, it was a simple, "I miss you," sent late at night, like a phantom limb reaching out from the past. He ignored it. A few days of silence followed, and he finally started to breathe again. Then, the next text came. "I saw you were out. Hope you're happy now." A message perfectly engineered to twist the knife of guilt. Another day, another text. "I was just thinking about that trip we took. I'll never forget that." A hook baited with a shared memory, designed to pull him right back into the emotional quicksand. He wasn't in a relationship anymore, but he was trapped in an emotional prison, and his ex was the warden. Every buzz of his phone was a new sentence, another round of psychological torment. This isn't just a story. For millions of men, this is a quiet, frustrating reality. The battle doesn't end when the relationship does. It just moves to a different, more insidious front. This is about how you can and must build a psychological fortress to reclaim your peace and sanity from a manipulative ex-partner. If you're watching this, you probably know that feeling all too well. The confusion, the sheer exhaustion. You feel like you're going crazy. You try to explain it to friends or family and they just don't get it. Just block her, they say. Just ignore her. But it's not that simple, is it? What they don't understand is that you're not dealing with a normal breakup. You're dealing with a calculated campaign of psychological manipulation, designed to keep you hooked, keep you off balance, and keep you under her control, even from a distance. The bars of this prison aren't made of steel. They're psychological. They're forged from specific, powerful tactics that prey on your emotions, your sense of decency, and your own mind. To break free, you first have to see the tactics for what they are. The first and most common tactic is gaslighting. This is the poison that makes you question your own sanity. She'll deny things she said or did, things you know for a fact happened. She'll say, "I never said that," or "You're remembering it wrong," or the all-time classic, "You're being too sensitive." Over time, this constant denial of your reality makes you doubt your own memory and perception. You start to think, maybe I am crazy. Maybe this is all my fault. And that's exactly what she wants. A man who doubts his own mind is a man who's easy to control. Next up is the tactic of hoovering. Named after the vacuum cleaner, it's a strategy designed to do one thing: suck you right back in. After a period of silence or conflict, she'll suddenly try to re-establish contact. This might be a simple "thinking of you" text, or it might be a full-blown crisis where she needs your help. Often, hoovering uses a technique called love bombing, where she floods you with the affection, apologies, or promises you've been craving. It's the "I miss you so much," and "it was all my fault I've changed" messages. This isn't genuine remorse. It's a calculated move to exploit your hope and your shared history. It re-establishes the emotional connection just long enough to ensure you're still on the hook before the bad behavior inevitably returns. This ties directly into one of the most powerful addiction mechanics in psychology: intermittent reinforcement. Think of a slot machine. You pull the lever over and over, getting nothing, but you keep playing because you know eventually there might be a jackpot. A manipulative ex uses your emotions the exact same way. She gives you periods of abuse, silence, or conflict, followed by sudden, unpredictable bursts of affection or hope. That unpredictability is what makes it so addictive. Your brain gets hooked on the potential for a reward, the good version of her, so you endure the pain, hoping to get that next hit of validation. It keeps you in a constant state of anxiety and longing. And then there's the heavy artillery, emotional blackmail and playing the victim. This is where guilt is weaponized against you. She'll make you feel responsible for her happiness, her stability, maybe even her life. You'll get messages like, "I don't know what I'll do without you," or even subtle threats of self-harm if you don't respond. She will expertly twist narratives to paint herself as the wounded party and you as the cruel abuser. She might tell mutual friends a version of the breakup that conveniently leaves out her behaviour and magnifies yours, isolating you and making you look like the villain. Many men are especially vulnerable to this because we're conditioned to be providers and protectors. When a woman we once cared for plays the damsel in distress, our gut instinct is to help, to fix things. A manipulative ex knows this and exploits it without mercy, and too many men suffer in silence, believing they should just be strong enough to handle it. But that silence is what allows the manipulation to continue. You're not weak for being affected by this. You are human. These tactics work because they're designed to bypass your logic and target the core of your emotional wiring. Recognizing the abuse is the first step toward healing. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to build your defense. So how do you fight an enemy who operates inside your own head and heart? You don't fight her on her terms. You don't engage with the drama. You don't try to win the argument. You make the entire battlefield irrelevant. You do this by building a psychological fortress. This isn't about becoming cold, unfeeling, or bitter. It's the exact opposite. It's about protecting your emotional core so you can actually heal and become whole again. It's about being strategic, disciplined, and focused on the only thing you can truly control: yourself. The foundation of this fortress rests on one single, powerful mindset shift: radical acceptance. Radical acceptance means fully and completely accepting the reality of the situation without judgment. It means you stop fighting with what is. You have to accept that you cannot change her. You cannot fix her. You cannot reason with her. And you will likely never get the closure you want from her. She is who she is, and her behaviour is a product of her own issues, not a reflection of your worth. This is incredibly hard because it forces you to grieve. You have to mourn the relationship you thought you had, or the person you hoped she could be. That's often the toughest part. You're not just letting go of the person sending you manipulative texts today. You're letting go of the idealized version of her that still lives in your mind. Accepting this doesn't mean you approve of her behavior. It means you're no longer willing to let her behavior dictate your emotional state. It's the moment you stop asking, "Why is she doing this?" and start asking, "What am I going to do now to protect myself?" This mindset is the bedrock. Every strategy we're about to discuss is built on it. Without it, you'll always be tempted to tear down your own walls in a moment of weakness or false hope. But once you truly accept that your piece is in your own hands, you're ready to start building. The first and most important wall of your psychological fortress is a technique called the grey rock method. The idea is simple, but putting it into practice takes serious discipline. You become as boring, unresponsive, and uninteresting as a plain grey rock. Manipulative people are emotional vampires. They feed on drama, conflict, and reaction. Whether you respond with anger, sadness, pleading, or a passionate defense, it's all fuel to them. A reaction, any reaction, tells them they still have power over you. It confirms that their buttons still work. The grey rock method is a strategy of starvation. You cut off their supply. You give them nothing to feed on. When they poke you, you don't react. When they bait you, you don't bite. When they try to start a fight, you don't show up. Here's what this looks like in the real world. She sends a long, baiting text accusing you of all sorts of things. "I can't believe you're already seeing someone else. After everything we went through, did I mean nothing to you? You're the most selfish person I've ever met." The emotional instinct is to defend yourself. That's not true. We've been broken up for months. You're the one who... And just like that, you've lost. You're back in her drama, playing her game, and you've given her exactly the attention she was craving. The grey rock response is completely different. You might reply with a single neutral word. "Noted." Or even more powerfully, you don't respond at all. If a response is absolutely necessary, especially if you have kids together, your answers must be brief, factual, and totally devoid of emotion. Her: you were 5 minutes late dropping off the kids. You just do this to upset me, don't you? You have no respect for my time. Your grey rock response: I was delayed by traffic. We'll factor that in next time. No apology, no defense, no emotion, just a statement of fact. You are a boring grey rock. Interacting with you becomes unfulfilling for her. It's like a child throwing a tantrum in an empty room. Eventually, with no audience, the performance stops. Now, a critical warning comes with this method. When you first start using grey rock, her behaviour will likely get worse, not better. Psychologists sometimes call this an extinction burst. Think about it. If a button on a machine stops giving you the usual reward, what do? You press it again, harder and faster. She will escalate her attempts to get a reaction. The texts will become more frantic, more accusatory, more desperate. This is the danger zone where most people give in. They think, this isn't working, it's making things worse. But that escalation is actually a sign that it is working. She's panicking because her source of control is being cut off. You have to hold the line. Stay boring. Stay unresponsive. If you give in, you teach her a devastating lesson, that she just needs to scream louder to get what she wants. But if you can withstand that storm and remain a grey rock, the behaviour will eventually subside. She'll get bored and move on to find an easier source of supply. This wall is your primary defence. It takes practice and patience, but it's the single most effective tool for reclaiming your peace. The second structure in your fortress is the watchtower. Impeccable documentation. This might sound cold or paranoid, but when you're dealing with a manipulator, it is your single greatest anchor to reality and your most powerful form of armor. Gaslighting works by chipping away at your memory and confidence. A manipulator thrives on plausible deniability, counting on you not remembering the specifics. Documentation is the antidote. It creates an objective, time-stamped record of reality that can't be twisted or denied. Your watchtower has two jobs. First, it protects your own sanity. When you start to doubt yourself, when she says that never happened, you can go back to your records and confirm your reality. It stops the gaslighting in its tracks. You're not crazy. It did happen, and you have proof. That simple act of verification is incredibly grounding. Second, documentation is your ultimate protection in any formal setting, whether it's for a restraining order, a custody battle, or a financial dispute. Courts and lawyers respond to evidence, not emotions. A vague story about her being manipulative is useless. A detailed log showing a clear pattern of harassment, threats, or manipulation is a weapon. So what should you document? Everything. Texts and emails, never delete them. Create a specific folder and screenshot text conversations, making sure the date and time are visible. Voicemails, save any that are harassing, threatening, or manipulative. A written log. This is for verbal interactions. As soon as you can, write down the date, time, location, and exactly what was said as factually as possible. Don't add your emotional interpretation. Instead of, she was trying to manipulate me, write, she said, if you really cared, you would do this for me. Then she started crying. Let the facts speak for themselves. Be aware of your local laws about recording phone calls or conversations, as they vary by state and country. Financial records. Keep track of every single financial interaction. Use a dedicated notebook or a secure digital method, like sending time-stamped notes to a private email address. Be consistent. Be factual. Be thorough. This isn't about gathering ammo for revenge. It's about building a shield of truth. It's a statement that says, my reality is not up for debate. Remember this phrase, Documentation beats allegation every time. Alright, I want to pause here for a second. We're getting deep into this, and if any of it is resonating with you, if you felt that confusion or been on the receiving end of these tactics, I want you to do one small thing. Drop a comment below with the words "Building my fortress." It's a simple declaration to yourself and to the other men here who are going through the same thing. It's a way to acknowledge you're ready to take back control. And if you're getting value from this, please hit that like button. That small click tells the YouTube algorithm that this is an important conversation and that other men who are suffering in silence need to see this video. Your support can genuinely help someone else find these tools. Now let's get back to the next wall of the fortress. With your grey rock wall standing strong and your documentation watchtower giving you clarity, it's time to build the gate and post the guards. This part of your fortress is all about boundaries. A manipulator sees a lack of boundaries as an open invitation. If you don't define your property line, they'll assume they own everything. Many guys mistake boundaries for requests. You don't ask a manipulative ex to be respectful. You inform her of what you will and will not accept, and what the consequence will be if she crosses that line. A boundary without a consequence is just a suggestion, and a manipulator will ignore suggestions. Your boundaries are the gate to your fortress, and you are the gatekeeper. You decide what gets in. Setting boundaries has to be clear, firm, and unemotional. For example, boundary on communication. From now on, I will only communicate about essential parenting matters, and only through email. This stops the endless baiting texts and creates a paper trail. Boundary on topics. I won't be discussing my personal life or new relationships with you. If you bring them up, I will end the conversation. Boundary on behavior. If you start to raise your voice or use insulting language, I will hang up the phone. See the key here? Each of these statements is about your action, not hers. You're not saying you have to stop yelling. You're saying if you yell, I will hang up. You control your actions, not hers. This is how you reclaim your power. Once a boundary is set, you must enforce it with 100% consistency. The first time you let it slide, you've taught her your boundaries are meaningless. If you said you'll hang up if she yells, then the very first time she raises her voice, you must calmly say, "Like I said, I won't continue this conversation if you're yelling. I'm hanging up now." And then you do it. To make this easier, adopt a new frame for all your interactions, the business relationship approach. Especially if you co-parent, you're no longer partners or friends. You're business partners in the joint venture of raising your children. That's it. How would you talk to a difficult but necessary colleague? You'd be brief, short and to the point, no small talk, informative, stick to logistics. I will pick up the kids at 5 p.m. on Friday. Firm, state your position clearly and without wavering. Polite, but not familiar. Be civil, but maintain a professional distance. No inside jokes, no reminiscing, no emotional intimacy. This business frame depersonalizes the interactions. It removes the emotional hook she uses to get to you. When she sends an emotional, baiting email, you respond only to the logistical part and ignore the rest. It's another form of the grey rock method, applied to your overall communication. Your interactions are now transactions, not connections. This gate and your enforced boundaries are what keep the chaos outside your fortress walls. The final pieces of your defense aren't walls, but ongoing patrols and maintenance. This is about narrative control and radical self-care. A manipulative ex will almost certainly try to launch a smear campaign. She'll tell her story to friends, family, anyone who will listen, casting herself as the victim. You'll be tempted to fight back, to defend your reputation, to set the record straight. Do not fall into this trap. Trying to control her narrative is a losing battle that will drain your energy and pull you right back into her drama. Your defense is not to fight her story, but to live your own. How? by being the embodiment of your fortress, calm, consistent, and dignified. When people ask, you stick to simple, neutral statements. You don't badmouth her. You don't get drawn into emotional debates. You simply let your actions and your stability speak for themselves. Over time, people will see the stark contrast between her drama and your calm. Your peace is the priority, not winning a PR battle. Finally, and most importantly, you have to maintain the fortress from within. A fortress is useless if the person inside is falling apart. Self-care and emotional detachment aren't luxuries. They're critical acts of warfare in this psychological battle. This means building a support system. You can't do this alone. Reconnect with trusted friends and family. Find people you can talk to honestly who will support you without judgment. Seeking professional help. A good therapist, especially one who understands this type of abuse, isn't a sign of weakness. They are an invaluable strategist and ally in this fight. Reinvesting in yourself. Go to the gym. Pick up an old hobby. Focus on your career. Pour all the energy you are spending on her drama back into yourself. Rebuilding your self-esteem is a non-negotiable part of healing. Emotional detachment is recognizing her attempts to provoke you for what they are, baited hooks, and consciously choosing not to bite. It's watching the storm rage outside your fortress walls and knowing you are safe inside. It takes time and practice, but every time you successfully detach from a provocation, your fortress gets stronger. The breakup wasn't the end of the war. It was the beginning of your fight for independence. The invisible prison she built with her gaslighting and manipulation is real, but it only has power as long as you stay inside it. Today, you've got the blueprint for your escape and your defense. It's a psychological fortress built with a few key materials: the impenetrable wall of the grey rock method, which starves her of reaction, the watchful eye of documentation, which anchors you to reality, the strong gate of firm boundaries and a businesslike frame, which puts you back in control, and the constant maintenance of your own narrative and self-care, which rebuilds you from the inside out. Building this fortress isn't an act of revenge, it's an act of profound self-respect. It's a declaration that your mental health, your peace, and your future are no longer up for negotiation. The hard truth is you can't control her, and you can't change who she is. But you have absolute control over how you respond, how you protect yourself, and the life you choose to build from this day forward. The prison doors were open all along. It's time to walk out, leave the chaos behind, and begin the work of building your fortress. You're not alone in this fight, and you absolutely have the power to win.